Hi, welcome back. So this is following on from the previous video I did. If you haven't already watched it, make sure to do so now before watching this. There should be a link top corner of the screen. Now, what did we learn from the last video? Well, once again, we're finally presented with more hard evidence, which is obviously needed, necessary in a mystery, especially like this one. Additionally, there's also key points which we may have heard, seen, which we've not heard of, seen before. And also certain information which kind of leans in that direction that Sharon was lying, or at least got stuff wrong. Important stuff as well, especially with the whole reporting Kenny missing. We know the dangers and the negatives and what could have been done if it was done earlier, if reported, and stuff like that. But the main talk is, with that knowledge of a 5-day delay, 5 days, 5 days of planning. We'll get into that shortly, okay? Because that's the key discussion within this video, to do with planning within that period of time. But on a side note, just quickly refer back to, wouldn't be surprised if somebody uses this footage or pictures of me, you know who I'm talking about, just relentless, don't know why, just like with Beepo in the past, same exact behaviour, obsessiveness, constantly going after people, not just one, but multiple, such as Atari and DJ Moore, and probably anybody else that says the wrong thing or does something which they don't agree with and stuff like that. So unnecessary, but I thought I'd just point that out because, you know, I do predict things from time to time. So yeah, aside from that, the point about Sharon, you know, in general, the odd person from time to time will get a bit defensive, whinge and whine, say, oh, why are you covering this person? Why are you going at it with them? Why do you think they're suspicious? But you know what? They're the same people that are perfectly fine with another person being analysed and questioned for suspicion because they think that other person is suspicious, so it's okay to analyse them, but because they don't see the suspiciousness in other people, that's when they get defensive. Typical one-sided hypocrite type behaviour, just like what I see most of the time within humans. No surprise there, same old shit. Differences with me, which separates me from others, is I don't just look at one person, I don't go all in. Cover a range of people, treat everyone as suspicious at first, and why? And partly through reinforcement and conditioning and adapting through people I've come across over time, because there's been a lot of people that have, you know, caused issues, disappointment, you know, not great things. So basically, okay, you see someone good, don't mean to say they're good. You come across someone bad, don't mean to say someone's bad. So it's kind of like, whatever happens, it is what it is. But at first, just be cautious because you never know what will happen next and what they'll do next. So like with this mystery, especially with the odd few characters within, you know, you see a certain bit of behaviour or you see a certain comment, you see the contradictions, you see certain lies, you see things cracking and unfolding, people start revealing themselves, whether it be purpose or by accident, and then you're like, oh shit, what have we got here? Other times, it may mean nothing, it might not lead to anything, but, you know, if they're attached, linked within to the mystery in some way or another, then they've got to be looked at least, because if you don't, then you might miss something. Okay, so there's no point being hypocritical, getting whingy or whining, because what's the point of that? Doesn't fix anything. And as well, there's other times where people defend Sharon for whatever reason. Okay, fair enough. I think J Chuck has done so in the past, but you know, J Chuck does defend people fairly often, which isn't a bad thing. You know, if it's genuine, then that's good what he does, and if he means what he says, that's good, but it's not always the case in that person you're defending is a good person, because, you know, I come across the odd person that's been naive and got themselves into trouble or come across bad people, dangerous situations, and they don't change their ways, they maintain being naive, and yet they, you know, tell other people, don't think much of this, don't think much of that, be prepared for this, be prepared for that, and they don't implement it into their own regime or anything like that. So, but then again, complex people I've come across, so that wouldn't be a surprise there. Don't make any sense, humans. So, with J Chuck, he defends the odd person from time to time, okay? Jay Hills has definitely done so as well with Sharon as the bigger focus, and that was more to do with saying, oh, Sharon is one of the biggest vilified persons, they're totally innocent, haven't done anything wrong, there's misunderstandings. Well, look, this is the thing. The reason why there may be misunderstandings, the reason why people are suspicious of Sharon is because of her behaviour or some of the comments she has left. Sure, people can act different. Many people can react differently to different situations. It's just the way they cope or the way they do whatever they do. Okay, but then when you start turning it into some kind of game, then yes, then it does seem more likely they are messing around, they are trying to cause trouble, or they're trying to, you know, do it for reasons with intent. And that's a good example of when Sharon said to The Shape, a YouTube channel that seemed to have a problem with me at one point, said they were unsubscribing because they don't like my videos. Oh, it's not down yet. They're the one that hide behind a fucking plastic mask. Come on, get a grip. So yeah, said to The Shape, oh, I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun, this. Why is it fun? You know, if you care about someone, you know, that's a bit of a piss take, that. But if you care about someone, whatever the situation may be, and if it's in such a situation where someone has gone missing, like in this case, you wouldn't be turning it into some kind of game, would you? Whether it be in the past, now, or in the future, you wouldn't turn it into a game because it's a bad time, it's a bad event, not something to celebrate. It's not a good thing to happen, and yet she turned it into some kind of game. I know other people will try and do the typical counselling style behaviour of, well, it might mean this, it might mean that. Well, people do this and people do that. No. You can tell with certain behaviour, okay? And it might just be them messing around, but still kind of unnecessary because they're almost bringing unwanted attention towards them. You know, where people might act a certain way and then they get certain attention, then they complain. I mean, one example would be certain gender of people dress a certain way, oh, and then they start getting all defensive afterwards when they get certain comments and certain stuff, and it's like, you know, you can tell when it's done for certain reasons, and then they try and play it off afterwards as if, oh, no, I wasn't doing that, I wasn't doing it for that reason, but there were. Typical behaviour, typical cancerous parasites and stuff like that. So yeah, there is that, and then it can apply in other situations as well. It doesn't just exclusively apply to a certain type of people. It can apply to anyone and everyone, you know. What would be an example? Like this top. If I, for whatever reason, decide to rip this top off or something, and then someone left the odd comment, whether it be a positive one or a negative one, and then I started complaining afterwards, it's like, I'm not in a position to complain because I'm the one that decided to rip this top off. I was the one that did it for a certain reason, and now because I'm getting certain responses which I may have wanted or not wanted, oh, I'm going to complain now. No, I'm not in a position to do that. That's what I'm referring to, okay? So like with Sharon, the way she's been acting and stuff, it's like, you know, why are you acting this way? You know, if you believe you're innocent, then you act innocent, right? You don't start, you know, pretending to be dodgy, pretending to act like you're part of it or caused something when you haven't, because then it's like, what is going on? It's like when people pretend that they've killed someone when the person that died, it was through some kind of natural cause or something. It's like, well, is it because you want to become some wannabe serial killer or something, wannabe murderer? You want to have that feeling of it without having to be actually responsible for it or in your conscious mind? You know what I'm saying? Like that. So I don't know if it's because they actually have like the idea of pretending to be responsible for something they haven't done, and then also having the comfort of knowing that they aren't the problem and they aren't a bad person and that's the reality, but they just like that idea of pretending to be part of the problem. Yes, it could get very complex, but then again, nothing would surprise me when it comes to humans. Nothing at all, because I've seen quite a bit. Well, no, I've not seen quite a lot. I've seen a certain amount complex stuff, and it's like, well, you can upscale it to much bigger things and more even worse stuff. So that's how that works, okay? So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the way Sharon's been doesn't help within the mystery, you know. I don't know how other people have operated around her, you know. I know there was videos on her channel and people left comments over time, like years ago, and she replied and stuff. But did any of you leave a comment, and did she reply to you for whatever reason? You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Certain people, the way they act, oh, let's put lots of fucking hearts all over the place. Oh, let's be really soft and nice. And it's like, is this real? Is this genuine? Or is this fucking fake? Yeah, I've come across a lot of that crap and it means absolutely nothing. It means fuck all. What I mean, in a sense, not more towards me, but more towards the mystery, the way people can be very, you know, maybe tying in with that naivety, how I was talking about how, okay, they come across a certain situation, certain person within the case, a certain suspect, and then the really supportive of them or really nice, thinking, oh, is this? Oh, it's nice. Oh, I'm just going to put a few hearts out there, like heart emojis, and put a little smiley face. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you siding with the other side when you still support this other channel, or you still support other people? Like, what the fuck? You know, I really don't understand. You know, when I have seen it, I've seen a few people over time where, you know, let's just use an example. I have done the odd video in the past, okay? Looking at a certain individual, maybe Sharon, maybe another individual, maybe Kenny, you know, if Kenny's been dodgy, if I've looked at it from that perspective, and people, the odd person has left a comment on a video saying, yeah, that is interesting. Oh yeah, man, this is so dodgy. This is yeah, they're definitely part of the problem. Yeah, they're definitely hiding something. Oh my God, what's going on? And then you look on, you know, the suspicious person on their channel or a comment they left elsewhere, and that person that, you know, watched my video and agreed with me is fucking supporting that dodgy person, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And sure, people have their own opinions and stuff, nothing wrong with that, and people will support certain people and go against others, nothing wrong with that. But what the fuck are people doing when they go all in, or at least agree with what you say, and then they do the complete opposite afterwards? So it's like this, okay, saying, man, Sharon is so dodgy, you know, the way she's been behaving. Or Kenny could be quite suspicious the way he's kind of acting. Is he planning something? Oh, 1 minute, I'm just going to go on their channel. I'm going to go on their comment and reply back saying, I'm so sorry that you lost your husband. Oh, I'm so sorry that you've been through this. It must be very hard. Kiss, kiss. Mwah, mwah. What? 1 minute you were this, next minute you're that. Wow. You know, I have seen it a few times now. Does it link to a certain gender? No. I mean, in terms of the hearts, the kisses and all that, yes, that does apply to one gender more. Most of the time, 100%. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, you know, why go along with something and say, yeah, they are suspicious, and then go up to them and then act all nice face to face? Not literally face to face, because this is online, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, you fucking parasite. Knob, absolute knob. Get a grip, like that. It's like, what the hell is going on? So that's just another example. I mean, like that typical hypocritical style behaviour, because we link back to the past with the whole Beepo thing. Yes, there was people that watched my videos, and then next minute, you know, they're commenting on Beepo saying, oh yeah, this guy's dodgy. Oh yeah, he's so bad. But they left positive comments, or no, not positive comments. They just left neutral comments on my channel, and then they started saying what they said elsewhere, and it's like, exact situation as what I just said then, exact example. So I'm saying, bit dodgy, and you know, let's just always throw this in, because people seem to forget at times. Oh, it's online. Oh, it's bound to happen. No. It means nothing. It can be online, it can be offline, it can happen anywhere, any place, any time. People always go on about, okay, certain behaviour will be displayed because it's behind a screen. You know, it's not face to face, so people can be whatever they want and do whatever they do, good or bad. It still means F all, because just like in real life, what about a person behind a steering wheel in a car? They are encased, they are protected, they could run somebody over, they could cause the road rage, they could be all gob like this, but the moment they're pulled out that vehicle, they ain't gonna do shit. Or what about all those people like the chavs, the gang members and stuff, that have an aggressive dog, an illegal breeded dog? Oh, they stand behind that. They look all big and strong, don't they? But when that dog's pulled away, they're a fucking coward, reduced to nothing. So it means absolutely nothing. You know, you talk about certain behaviour online, it can apply in real life. It can apply anywhere, any place, anytime. It means, you know, very simple at the end of the day. So you got that. Is there anything else to get into before we get into the main talk, okay? I don't think so. But if I do think of anything, I'll add it in along the way. So, the whole 5-day plan. What's going on? What could have happened, okay? Just remember the language I use, because certain people forget. So, the 5-day plan, 5 days delayed until reported missing. 5 days is quite a lot. A lot of things can go on in 5 days. Even within a day, even within a second, just like I'd say, in a few seconds, a bullet can change everything. Just like how in any other situation, a certain comment, a certain text could change everything of a situation between two people. Or it could be doing one extra exercise, one extra rep can change everything. It could kill you, it could injure you, it could do anything. So that sort of thing we're talking about. And when we talk about 5 days, on a much bigger scale, a lot more can happen there. Planning, preparation. Not saying that is the case, but I'm saying that it could be. Okay, so what is it? 10th, 11th. Okay, Kenny heads out, does what he does, parks his vehicle out there, maybe. I say maybe because it might have not been on the same exact day, or it might have been parked there a day later, or it might have been back and forth going back there, depending, okay? Because there's 5 days in between. No one talked about the vehicle report in terms of when it got there, because I don't think you can track that. You know, you can't tell by the tyres or the footprints of the last time it was moved, or the exact date, the exact time it got to that area, because there's no CCTV cameras. If it was a car park, then you could track back through the data and say, at 10:46 on Sunday, whatever, that's where they were seen. And then on the 30th, oh, they were seen back there again. That's not the case. So you can't know about that. So at a certain point in time, within that 5-day period of Kenny going missing, going quiet, he parked his car out there, which obviously he did, or at least somebody else did, because that's where his car was found. Okay. And then what about the cell phone? Well, he or somebody else out there walked there to the mine shaft. They would have had to have Kenny sent, so it was either obviously Kenny himself, or maybe the girlfriend or somebody else, Ray, who had Kenny's phone, walked up to the mine shaft, placed it down. I mean, you could have placed it anywhere, really. You could have left it in the car. I mean, if someone, let's just tie back, if someone is really suicidal, they're not going to plan everything. You know, they can be a bit sloppy, a bit reckless, a bit tunnel vision, because at times some of them just want to get it over and done with. They don't want to leave behind a trail. They don't want to turn it into some kind of game most of the time when it's genuine. Not someone doing it for attention, where they hang on the edge of a bridge. They don't have any intent to actually do it, but they just want to do it for attention. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone that is going to do what they're going to do. No bullshit, no messing around. So I don't know why Kenny would want to leave almost like a trail, like breadcrumbs. Is it being turned into some kind of game? He says he's going to do it so nobody finds him. Okay, well, I guess technically speaking, he's been successful because no one has found him. But why would you still want to leave the phone a bit further out there to hint towards the idea that that's where you've gone? If you want to ensure that nobody will find you, whether it be now, in the future, you're not going to leave the odd item around, because that could help in people finding you. It wouldn't make sense if your original plan was to remain hidden. You know what I'm saying? So there must be some kind of significance behind the phone being at that spot. Simple facts like it was placed down there when it could have just been left in the car, because why take it with you if you're not going to use it? And what about the camera? He took a camera with him. It wasn't found in the vehicle from what was said. So he must have carried that with him. Why drop the phone but take the camera wherever he's going? That makes no sense whatsoever, does it? If you're going to drop one thing, you might as well drop everything else. Take the gun with you, because that's obviously what's needed. That's the tool to get the job done. But taking a camera with you, what? To film yourself doing it, or to take a picture of something? Well, it makes no sense. Leave everything at the truck or at home. You don't want to get found. That's the best way to do it, right? So that's dodgy. Is there a significance? It was put at the mine shaft. It could have been put a bit further up. It could have been put near the supposed covered cave. It could have been placed a few meters before the mine shaft. But why the mine shaft? Is it all to do with the simple fact that that's where Kenny created his video, where he did his intro to his MK hike route, and he just thought, oh, it's a key marker? Key marker. You know, there's some kind of history behind that place. It's the first place, I might be wrong, it's one of the first places which might have been recorded, captured and uploaded to YouTube, talking about the whole cave, talking about the whole mystery, where it all began. And the intro, the significance was the mine shaft where he stood. So he thought, okay, I'm going to put the phone back there where I started. Is it that concept of, I'm going to finish what I started or something? Or is it something to do with, okay then, I haven't found the mystery, let's create a mystery within itself and I'll just place the phone here? Or is it more like, I want to play a game now, I'm suicidal, but I'm not. I'm going to leave a clue here, even though I don't want to be found, but I won't be found anyway because I'm not here in the first place, but I'll make it seem like I am somewhere. You get what I'm saying? Whoa, what's going on here? Because obviously, people have looked in the mine shaft. He wasn't in there, okay? And yet that skull is there as well. Don't know exactly when it appeared, because the whole Robin thing where he said, I put it there, well, we know how that went, okay? You know, I was a bit wary from the start, but yeah, kind of odd. And obviously with it disappearing afterwards, it's like, well, why? That's a mystery within itself. But yeah, as I said earlier, or maybe I didn't mention it, but you know, some people will be like, okay, you've got all these bits of evidence, or you might have a singular piece of evidence. Oh, it's so bitty, it doesn't make any sense, or it's not exactly a strong point to put forwards, because what does it really mean at the end of the day? But, you know, it's like this concept of, you know, a single thread will not make a complete cobweb. You need multiple pieces, and then you'll get the full picture, and you'll be able to see it clearly. And just like with evidence, whether it be slim, thin, hard evidence, soft evidence, visual behaviour, when it's on its own, it might not mean anything. It might not really explain much. It could be debunked. But then when you start seeing multiple things start popping up, just like how you get certain victims of something where they step up against somebody and it turns out it's more than one person, it's 10, 20, it's like, whoa, we're dealing with something serious here, something wide scale. It's not something to be played down, minimised. There's multiple things going on, multiple people involved. So you got to take it more serious. And that's like with the evidence here. Okay, you got a bit of evidence there which is a bit suspicious of someone, but then you've got another thing that which happened completely different time, and it ties in, and something else, and something else, and then it starts forming a bigger picture, and it's like, whoa, there's things that link between one another. And I'm not talking about those fake links or the links where, oh, it's just all through imagination and coincidence of things being similar. No. I mean, in my own experience, I have come across coincidences in life when it's in relation to certain people. I don't know why it's happened. It's been very weird. It's been very, 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 very coincidental to the point where it must mean something else, but who knows? I don't know if it's some kind of sick, twisted game or something. I don't know why it's aimed at me, but this is nothing to do with the mystery. This is just to do with in general in life when you get certain coincidences, but there's too many, or it's too close to something or to someone, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here? This is weird. But no, when I'm talking about in this mystery, the actual evidence that's been presented, hard evidence, and then you got the visual stuff, pictures, comments, and it ties with one another, and then it's like, well, this definitely does, you know, lean towards something at least, and it's a bigger picture now. As said, small scale things might not mean anything, but multiple of them when connected together can mean something and can be important, okay? Some people fail to think of that or remember it. So there's that, okay? We tie back to the mine shaft again, apologies for that. So yeah, phone placed there for whatever reason. Scent lost would hint towards the idea of walking back to the vehicle, but not driving off in that vehicle because it remained there. So girlfriend may have come along, because let's not forget, the girlfriend has been known to pick Kenny up along the highway and stuff in the past. I think someone was also saying how Sharon wouldn't remember the location or so she had to write it down or write down the routes, maybe the names of the road, so she would remember, to have that knowledge of the area, the best routes, the best places to pick him up. And it was said, obviously, in Kenny's hike video that that's what the girlfriend did previously. So is it any different this time? I mean, it would make sense because the whole scent being lost, double backing on oneself, the idea that the vehicle remains there because somebody else comes along. Really? And I don't know if it's possible, if it could have happened. You got to look for tyre marks, right? You know, is there any tracks on the ground? Is there any indication that there's been more than one vehicle there, a second vehicle within the period of time, within the 5-day period? Because if there was any glimpse of that in some way, that there was another vehicle there present at a point in time, even if it was just for a few seconds during one of the days of him going missing, that could well be the girlfriend picking him up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the vehicle, maybe Sharon was driving, or it could even be Ray, you never know, that may have picked Kenny up would have been by Kenny's vehicle, or it might have been back on the highway and Kenny just walked back to his vehicle and carried on walking to the main road. Because I believe at one point Jay Chuck parked at the Desert Wildlife Refuge Centre or somewhere near there, and he walked all the way down Jermay Road and then Jermay Canyon. Sure, he might be younger, he might have more stamina, more healthy, whatever. But, you know, if he managed it to an extent or to a more extreme, then I'm sure Kenny probably did as well. And it would make sense to why maybe tyre marks wouldn't exist or be present, because they didn't do that, because probably then it'd be too suspicious, it would be too obvious. So they had to keep it discreet, so they just parked up on the highway. And as I said, if Sharon's done that before, then I'm sure Kenny's capable of doing it again. You know, I'm sure he'd have the stamina to do that. So what happens after that? Does anyone go back to the desert in between that 5-day period to move anything, to add anything? Maybe that skull, anything to do with the tent and the sword? Don't know. But more planning might have occurred outside of the area, externally, whether it be getting items together, moving away, going off to another location, another place. I mean, supposedly there was that report of neighbours seeing Kenny 3 days after his disappearance, and that would fit within the time frame of the 5-day period of being quiet. Edging towards, you know, being reported missing, but still within the correct time frame. So it makes sense, maybe one of the days or so, Sharon or Kenny somehow got back home, dropped him off or something, whether it be directly outside his house, round the back, or from across the street in a different neighbourhood nearby, and Kenny walked back to his house, and that's when the odd neighbour accidentally saw him. He might have collected a few items. I don't know what that would be, whether it be valuables, resources, electronics, anything like that maybe. And then at a point in time, one of the vehicles, whether it be Sharon, Ray, somebody else, you never know who else could be involved, parks up outside, Kenny gets in, and they drive off and then go to a new town, a different city, and then that's where Kenny lays low for a certain amount of time, or up to now maybe. I mean, a lot can happen, as said, within 5 days. And if it's planned out, they know what they're doing, then it's going to be efficient. People can say, oh, none of that would have happened. Well, I'm not saying it did happen. I'm not saying either it didn't happen whatsoever. Could have happened, okay? And I know in relation to the missing 5-day period, some people could have said, yeah, but maybe the girlfriend didn't want to report him missing because she still had hope that he would be okay, and it might have just been a few days delay. But really, in that situation, I don't think it applies, because if the girlfriend already knows Kenny is unstable and he's been talking of negative thoughts and stuff like that, and he's also been known to injure himself in the past, you know, with all that conditioning, you'd be more prepared now and more alert that if there was a delay, there was, you know, someone going cold, going quiet, then you would respond immediately, especially if they've got a past in a negative way, you would react quick. Whereas if you know someone can be quite reckless, careless, but not in a dangerous way, you know, more in a casual way. Oh, they're late to something, they turn up late, the text back, the reply late. It's to be expected, and it's like, nothing different here. I mean, we're applying it to me. If people have messaged me or said, hey, you want to do a video call? Been waiting, never happened. They forgot, or they started doing something else. Maybe it was a family member, maybe it was another friend who got distracted, and it's like, disappointing. I mean, in my own experience, it has been disappointing. It's not fun, it's not great, not at all. It's really not. But in a general situation, it's like, oh well, they're useless. Oh well, they're forgetful. Oh well, they clearly don't care about you, don't care about me, so it is what it is. And then if it happens again and again and again, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's just who they are. They might be busy, or they've just got a shit personality, they're a shitty person, fuck them. Whatever it may be. And you don't really react too much to it because it becomes normal. But I wouldn't say it's like that in this case, because it's to do with someone going missing, much more serious scale, and the girlfriend supposedly knew Kenny is having issues and problems, and, you know, I think it explains for itself. So you're not going to be as casual about that type of situation as you are if someone was to just let you down consistently in a casual way, but just lackadaisical. So yeah, I think that rules that one out, okay. Is there anything else? Now, if you just want to fast forward to 2018 now, of the break-in of the healing store owned by Veach family members, kind of coincidence there. Some people could be like, how and why would that link to Kenny at all? Okay, you see the visual imaging, you see what family members have confirmed it's been Kenny. People could still be like, yeah, but why would he honestly go back to Las Vegas? If that was the place he was running away from, escaping, whether it be certain personal issues, people after him, whatever it may be, why would you return back to that danger zone, I guess? Well, it doesn't quite link this, but, you know, you've heard of that statement where the criminal or the person returns to the scene of the crime. Maybe this could be the case again. Or it might be because he missed certain people, or he needed certain equipment, whatever it may be. You might have forgotten something, or you needed to retrieve something, or maybe family members wanted him to come back in some way. And people could reply back and say, yeah, but the whole plan, you know, how it went underway, wouldn't it have made more sense just to, you know, go in during daytime and retrieve whatever, or hand over the desk, you know, that sort of thing. But then it would be captured on CCTV much clearer, because it's daytime, obviously. There'd be witnesses around. You know, you don't want witnesses. And some people could be like, yeah, but these witnesses and people around, and the day, the year, are people going to remember Kenny? Are they even going to care? Are they going to report him? Probably not, but could police? You never know. Or anyone else around. It all depends. You know, we don't ultimately know how much danger he was in, or what certain people thought of him. I know people say he might have been wanted by the police, and other people say he wasn't, so it kind of back and forth about that. You know, you got to try and balance it out. But let's just stick to one thing before we start getting too confused, okay? Kenny decided to return back. Maybe he needed something, desperate for something, I don't know. And he broke in at night because it's nighttime. There's really no one around. And I guess it's dark as well. So, you know, not going to be detected as easily, aside from the cameras. Breaks in because obviously the doors are locked. That'd hint more towards the idea that maybe family members weren't anticipating it, maybe. He broke in, looked around, there wasn't much going, but then he saw the iPad, whether it be because of valuable to sell it, or maybe to access it. I don't know, be financially or check emails or even kind of desperate or a bit of a stretch, but maybe check his own YouTube channel out, but using a different server or using a different account to sign in on it. Maybe, I don't know, so it doesn't trace back to him, maybe. Now, after the event took place, family members mainly may have watched, looked at the footage, and then thought, oh wait, that's Kenny. Well, what's he doing there? What? And then obviously because the whole news and police report, they're like, well, we've got to play this off. I mean, the footage is blurry. It's not the clearest. So, you know, you can play that card of, oh, I can't quite identify him. So I'll just brush it off as, oh, don't know who it is, but, you know, it is what it is and leave it there. That could be, you know, that could be the situation. It's just the door vibrating from the train passing by. But yeah, it can go different ways. I guess if it was more planned, maybe the door would have been left open, or, you know, someone forgot to lock it, so then it allowed Kenny to be able to just easily go in, take the item and go back out and then leave it like that. But then arguably it'd be more suspicious, right, wouldn't it? Because there'd be questioning of, okay then, who in the store decided to not lock the door? What about insurance problems? What about being sacked, being fired? Doesn't seem quite professional. There'll be consequences. Whereas if it was all done in such an innocent way where no one would suspect of anything, a break-in by the hands of somebody else, you couldn't control that. It's not your fault. But maybe you were aware of it. Just like how people might burn down a building. If someone from within burns it down, or all of them do who work there, then because of the whole insurance fraud, insurance policy and all that, trying to get payouts and stuff, it might look more suspicious. Whereas if someone externally, someone you've never heard of, known, some random person off the street or wherever, comes over, burns down the building, it's like not much you can do about it. Maybe you were friends with that nobody and that stranger, and you got them to do it instead. So no one would suspect or get suspicious. So maybe that could be the case with the store. You never know. I guess the interesting thing is what happened after 2018. You know, did he return back to somewhere where he may have been? Is he still alive now? Because yeah, with certain evidence and certain footage, yeah, you can say Kenny was alive after 2014. Is he still classified as alive to this day? That's you don't know, because after 2018 we've not really come across any more evidence or footage to suggest that, so that's kind of unknown, but you never know, so it could show up. Well, I mean, you could put the argument across about Kenny being homeless when Sean said he found him, and would that make any sense? Well, it's still within Las Vegas, or it's still within Nevada, okay, and Kenny's hiding out somewhere. But him being homeless, I don't know about that. I mean, really, that kind of story, that situation that was talked about, does it make sense? Well, if family members are in on it, you'd expect family members to probably help Kenny more, maybe, so he's not homeless, or so he's not publicly viewable out there, because then that would kind of ruin the whole thing, the whole cover and everything, and give it all away. Probably do a bit more to keep it a bit more discreet, maybe. I think best way to look at it is, okay, might have seen someone that looks like Kenny. You know, just like how we said that before. You can come across people in this world that look like you, but they're not you. They just look similar, or they might sound similar, and stuff like that. And the only problem is with Sean, you tie it in with previous stuff. Sean in the past was saying how we're dealing with a murder case to do with Kenny. Kenny was murdered. And the next thing, no, actually no, this is how it went. Let's just be real. On one of his hikes, I think it was the 2016 hike, where Sean in his video referred back to Kenny saying, Kenny, come out. I know you're hiding. I know you're in New Mexico or something. Stop playing with us. I know you're there. I know you're watching. He was doing something like that. And then what, in 2020 or so, at some point, Sean ends up saying to me, you know, I don't want anything to do with this mystery at all. I want to keep out of it. You know, we're dealing with a murder case. And it's like, how do you go from saying he's out there in New Mexico to now saying we're dealing with a murder case? And then you go on to later on in 2021 where Sean then says, oh, I saw him homeless. So 1 minute he's in Mexico, next minute he's been murdered, and then next minute he's homeless and alive. Yeah, you can't really follow that quite clearly. It's up, down, up, down, up, down like that. You know, 1 minute's this, 1 minute's that. It's just like the UK weather, bipolar. It's like, what the fuck's going on? So when something like that occurs, maybe you don't really believe in it as much. But I just wanted to add it in because really that's the only little bit of, the only witness report, I guess you could say, of a sighting of Kenny after 2018. Like I said, for most part of it, we don't know much else. Yes, you've got that comment, or jot a few comments which Atari found, but then again, I think DJ React or DJ More, whichever DJ it was, said something about those comments might have been bots. It makes you think, well, why bots though? What's the meaning behind that? Why would someone do that? I still can't remember where those comments are, but that was in 2014 of December. So you could say, oh, that hints towards Kenny maybe accessing certain records, certain sites, leaving comments. Don't know why he would after him disappearing. It wouldn't make sense because he's really exposing himself publicly. If anyone checked and found his comments, right? That'd be a bit silly to do if you've planned everything else out and now you do something like that. But then again, people can be a bit reckless. People can slip up. That's been the main theme within this mystery. Over time, maybe cracks form or people make the odd mistake and then it can reveal something. Other times it might be unintentional mistake which leads to nothing, but then other times it could be more than that. But really, just try and keep it at a base level balance and just have a little look here and there regarding certain people and stuff. So yeah, obviously, there's that what I talked about just then. Doesn't time with that whole 5-day plan, but, you know, the stuff that might have happened afterwards, other reasons. But as I said, 5 days, Sharon, maybe Ray, and anybody else in between, you never know. You don't know what other contacts are out there or who's available. Stepped in at some point, possibly, did what they did. Because, let's just look at it this way, okay? 5 days, if he was reported much earlier, would that have impacted Kenny's scent? That's what I'm thinking. You know, if he was reported earlier, search and rescue went out quicker, got the dogs out quicker, the sniffer dogs, traced his scent to the mine shaft, would it be the same result then as compared to leaving it many days later? You know, obviously scent wears off over time, doesn't it? That's to be expected. So if you did it quicker, then surely that scent would have continued onwards before it's expired. And where could it have led? To his actual location? May have actually found him properly, actually found something. You don't know. You'll never know because it was left too late. Think about that. Really think about that. Now, if it turned out to be a dead end a few days earlier, then it would have reinforced that that's how far he got and he didn't go any further. So he must have double backed. That would really explain everything, wouldn't it? And then after that, you're basing off that idea, okay, he's double backed. He's gone back to the vehicle. Dead end. Vehicle to mine shaft. Didn't go any further. Mine shaft to vehicle. Where else did he go from there? I mean, let's just add in one extra point. And, you know, it's kind of questionable because this is to do with Gene. And obviously Gene's a dodgy character. And information that's come out has been, you know, arguably a load of rubbish from what some people have said in response to Gene. But didn't really get complete confirmation on the whole scent trail up Pine Nut Road, I think it is. Place where Scott Natal went. Is it Pine Nut Road? Don't know if that's through Dead Man Canyon or not, but I think it's on the opposite side, right-hand side of Sheep Peak, Sheep Range, you know, that whole area. On the other side, on the right, so east. Now that being the case, with it being adjacent, then it would imply that, because I'm sure the access routes are nearby to where Kenny parks his vehicle. I might be wrong, but I'm basing it off this. Okay, Kenny comes back from the mine shaft to his vehicle, and then proceeds to walk off a little bit, because if it's Pine Nut Road and that's where his scent was, you'd be thinking, how does he go from, you know, the car to the mine shaft and then way over, climbing all over Sheep Range, Sheep Peak, going over that massive ridge, mountains, and coming all the way down back onto the other side? It would make no sense whatsoever. It probably wouldn't be possible. You've seen those ravines on the side which Jay Chuck had been up, dead ends and very steep, rocky, even worse than you know, on just standard ground. All the trees as well. You probably wouldn't be able to get that far. Jay Chuck couldn't. So that would rule that out. But if he got back to his vehicle and then proceeded to go up Pine Nut Road somehow, that's why his scent was there for whatever reason, and then it was lost at a certain point, or it was just the beginning of Pine Nut Road, let's say, and that's where the vehicle decided to pick Kenny up, not directly by the side of where Kenny parks, but went up Pine Nut Road and then picked him up that way. It was like a diversion, caused a bit of confusion. That's the only way I could see it, because if it wasn't that, then it wouldn't make any sense whatsoever then, it being, you know, linked to Kenny's scent in that area. So yeah, all different kinds of routes and stuff. But, you know, if it was planned, it was planned. Makes you think, how long was the plan? You know, was it done on the spot? Was it done months ago, weeks ago, before heading out? Or was it just like a spur of the moment, and then certain people just followed along with it because obviously being family members, they're going to defend and cover for one another, because that's, I guess, what people do like that. Or friends would do that maybe in certain situations. So yeah, you can tell me what you think down below in the comment section, because there's all different kinds of ways to look at it. You know, some people at the end of the day will say, oh, you're going too far here, or you know, you're looking at certain stuff which isn't the case. Well, you know what? Okay, some people could try and act smart or something and say, yeah, but still, there's no proof Kenny is alive. Well, I can just come back and say, well, there's no proof Kenny is dead either. It's unknown. It's very simple. Will people be saying, yeah, well, Kenny was this and that, and then he committed suicide? Is there any evidence to prove that that's exactly what he did in the end? No. There's no gun found, no bullet casings found, no body found, none of that. The fact that he brought items with him, which, you know, a suicidal person wouldn't normally bring, then it's kind of like, well, what the hell's going on? It does make you think, though. The significance of the camera, and did he take a backpack with him? We don't know every single item he took. You know, he doesn't take much with him anyway. But it does make you think, what would he have used that camera for anyway? Was it to take the odd picture? You know, and he was supposed to give a certain item to his nephew, Hunter. What could that have been? Probably something from the desert, because he said he was going to go out there to the desert and get something. Does that tie anything to do with the 40-mile hike? Don't know, really don't know. But as I said, we're tying it back to, if it wasn't 5 days and it was 1 day or 2 days and then reporting him, maybe that scent could have gone on past the mine shaft and carried on north. That would reinforce the 40-mile hike thing, and then that could open up a new area to search and look at, but we will never know, unfortunately. So there is always that, okay? But yeah, could Kenny have taken pictures? Yeah, if you could find that camera, which he supposedly took, I mean, this is what like from what Sharon said. So unless she's lying once again, that would be kind of typical, wouldn't it? But if you were somehow able to locate that camera, I don't know how you would, but if you found it, what's on that camera? What pictures have been taken? Is there any pictures that might include more than one person in that hike, in the area? Did he take a photo of somebody else? Or was it just photos of the environment and he wanted to return back home to share it with the family or someone, maybe? But just kind of weird. And you know what, in terms of the whole presence of that area, sure, it's quiet, and most definitely more quiet than ever back then, before the whole mystery came about. I mean, it's still a quiet place now, but I guess a few more people have come along the way to explore, to investigate. But at least back then, probably wouldn't have got any witnesses, would you? It does make me think then, with DJ Moore, we might as well throw it in there. When DJ Moore went out there himself and he did his hike, he did refer back to saying he saw the odd person, you know, camped out near the refuge centre and stuff. Maybe that's probably because more of a hotspot or an easier area for people just to park up and stuff and do whatever they do. And then obviously Sheep Range, Jimmy Canyon, really no one goes there, makes sense. But yeah, DJ Moore talking about he saw the odd person, especially some, I think some female or something, was it with a floppy hat or something, dressed in yellow, collecting flowers, and just appeared out of nowhere, a bit out of place, by themselves. Don't know what age, I don't know much detail, but I remember that being talked about in the comment section, and Jeff Clark referring back to that, and it's like, okay then, what's this all about? And DJ himself said he was kind of suspicious and a bit wary, like thinking, this is a bit weird. I mean, what's going on here? Is there more to it? Is it some kind of lookout? I mean, let's be real. DJ did announce he was heading out there, you know, by himself. He was planning it, documenting it along the way, all kinds of public coverage. So anybody on YouTube who's involved in the mystery or spying or scouting, whatever it may be, would know, you know, the day possibly when DJ would be arriving. Get there a few days early, a few hours, and wait until he comes. And that would be a bit weird, wouldn't it? Because what's the significance of that? And I know DJ was talking about when he was out there, what could have happened. You know, he didn't want to be out there too long just in case his vehicle ended up getting smashed up or something and he might have been stranded. And it's kind of a spooky idea, isn't that? You know, there's someone around present watching you, just standing around, you're doing your own thing, and they're there at a certain point in time and the vehicle's parked up as well behind you. And then whilst you're out there hiking, whether it be for the day or two, back of your mind you're thinking, I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder what they're doing. You know, are they scouting? Have they been sent out by one of the Veach family members to report back on information? Does make you think though, doesn't it? But then again, why would they be so concerned about who goes to that area? I know Susan said she doesn't want people going out there because what's the point if Kenny's not there? People go there for no reason and injure themselves. I get that awareness being spread, but certain family members, if they've hidden Kenny's elsewhere, then why should it matter who goes to, you know, the Sheep Range, Jimmy Canyon area? You know, if Kenny's not there. It's just a little thought, okay? Unless it's got nothing to do with the Veach family, and it could just be some random stranger, wrong place, wrong time, or it could be one of those odd persons, because there has been odd people within the mystery that have turned up. And I guess maybe in this case it might have been a bit more serious. You don't know, because not much really happened after that because DJ wasn't there long enough to really find out. And I don't think he talked to the person, and I don't blame him either. Maybe he can give a better explanation in the chat, or maybe in the comment section whenever this video is uploaded, okay? So yeah, just wanted to tie it in because it wasn't really talked about too much, only just on one of his videos. I don't think there's any pictures. I mean, that would have been kind of spooky just to see the odd picture. Then again, maybe, you know, it might cause trouble, you know, if you try taking a picture of them, you know, how people can be. You know, just like in real life, you know, you look at someone 0.2 seconds too late and now you're accused of this and accused of that and labelled this and that. So sometimes it's probably best just to lay low and just pretend to act dumb or not know what you're doing whilst you're doing your own thing. So yeah, I think that's really it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the situation. And we'll see what happens next. So thanks for watching and goodbye.